Welcome to the official AFL Fantasy podcast with the Traders.
G'day with the Traders. I'm Roy. I coach Destroy, and I'm here with Warnie.
Coach of the Warn Dogs.
And Calvin.
Coach of Calvinator.
All right, we're previewing the fantasy potential of all the clubs. And, Dog, are you telling me Collingwood come in second?
They're the second one we're doing.
What's that mean?
They finished second last.
What? Did anyone realise that?
Cal questioned my order.
Yes.
Did you get that right?
Yeah, well,
Now, sometimes I know we get sidetracked and look at fantasy more than what's actually going on. But second last.
So they're certainly not ranked second last when it comes to fantasy.
No, I don't
because
think
they
so.
are one of the best teams of the last few years. So anyway, let's start looking at the players on our list. I'll start at the top because it's always a good place to start, and that is Brodie Grundy, $893,000. Now, I'm going to rank him as my number one ruck in 2022.
Ahead of Max Gawn.
Ahead of Max Gawn.
It's not silly.
It's not at all.
Well, it's not stupid.
No.
It's maybe silly.
Nah, he's ahead of Max Gawn.
Yeah, it's
Some
a fair
people are
call.
even saying Max could not even be number two.
Yeah,
So,
I know,
anyway.
I know,
Oh,
where
come
they're,
on.
I know where they're coming
Come
from.
on.
I don't believe them. I'm
Don't know,
not-
Cal. You need to get unstuck out of your ways. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it can be.
it can
I think, well, here's Brodie. So Grundy he signed a contract the year before, a very long-term contract. We often see a little drop sometimes.
He's
with
saying
that.
he didn't try last year, though.
Well, 106.5 average from his 20 games. That's after his 114, basically Corona Ball average, 122, 120, which is why he became the ruck pig.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I think he's just going to improve. I don't think there's the stress of the second ruck like at other clubs.
Yep.
And we just
So that's
know
what
what
you're
he can do.
flagging with Maxi, aren't you?
And that's right. So Luke Jackson is only going to have increased role, I
Yes.
think, in the ruck. So, but Grundy, let's look at him. I think he's just a pretty easy pick for me. If you want to go a set and forget ruck, one of them, which we always say about round 6 that maybe you want 2 set and forgets, but I think that he will be the number one ranked
So
ruck.
this happens every year.
Yes, it does.
And
We
it
always-
could be over 110, so he's got upside even just
Agreed.
because of that 106 that he's priced
Okay.
at.
We've been doing this for about 20 years.
Yeah.
Long time.
Every year we chase value in the ruck.
Yep.
By round 5 to 6 we say we should have just set and forget.
I think you need one. I think you have to have one.
Every year, Roy.
Every year. Because we want to pick all the gun players in other positions. We
Yep.
sacrifice the ruck spot for value. It never ends well.
Agree.
I
think I'll do it again.
Absolute bare minimum, though. I think you have to have one, and I think Grundy, for me, is the best there.
Well,
A
you
guy
couldn't-
that can
you
be
couldn't have-
120.
I don't think you could have any confidence spending up on anyone other than Grundy in that.
He's the safest.
I think so.
And the best. Agree, Dog.
Yeah.
Good start, Warnie.
Captain option
This is a
there,
cracking
Cal,
pod
too.
already, Roy.
It is.
Dog is on.
He's on.
So, obviously, yeah. And where does he go in draft? Like, he's the number one ruck in draft. I will rank him as my number one ruck. But
Wowee.
where are you going to put him? Like, he has been a number one draft
He's
pick,
got 120
ADP.
potential.
He's been probably 2 last year because I think it was Max 1 and then Grundy 2.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'm happy.
First
I'm happy
round
to
still?
go. I'm happy to go top 5.
Yeah.
with Grundy
I think he's top
in
5.
draft.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're looking at some draft rankings later on this preseason. All right, next one I'm going to talk about is second on the list, actually, is Jack Crisp. So he is defender only. I thought he might have even had slash mid he does have slash mid. There he is, sorry. 854K. Now, he had a career year last year, so he went over a ton, so 101.8. But the thing that's so good about him, and this is especially with draft in our heads, is that he has not missed a game since joining the Pies from Brisbane in 2015.
That's a good effort.
Loves football.
And loves football and loves scoring decent fantasy points as well. Always, I guess, a top 10 defender for us. So his numbers since joining the Pies, 91, 84, 88, 88, 98, 95, 102. So he's just got himself right up that top end of it and can score it in the midfield or outside of it because he does get midfield time as well. So I like him a lot as a very safe pick in your draft. I don't think I'll do it in Classic. I don't like
a
picking
bit too expensive.
and does. Because he's coming off his best season.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like that. It's a hard one to do. We don't like paying full price for a player.
No.
Come off that.
Speak for yourself.
new coach too. It's risky paying up for guys when they've got a new coach.
You want a little bit of meat on the bone.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much meat there is.
Could there be some meat on the bone for Brayden Maynard?
No.
So he was massive in Corona Ball. That was his best season with a 94 average.
That was big.
But he's priced at 81.5, so that's what he had last year. So consider worth having a look at. He's played every game in the last 2 years. Look, a watch, I think he is.
Are we concerned with these Corona Ball averages?
Yeah, I think we need to be.
Yeah.
There's some outliers
There's
there in a
huge
lot of
ones,
players.
isn't there?
So
Yeah.
where they are. But
I really paid a little attention to that year.
Yeah.
Like it
I
never
noticed.
happened.
try to erase that from our memories
Bloody oath.
a little bit. Some of that stuff, though, too, is worth watching him over this pre-season. Played in the midfield pre-Christmas at some training. Got some sources there for that one.
Is that right?
A little video. Yeah.
Oh, okay, righty.
In
We
the
do love.
midfield.
Hey,
So
keep
could
sending
be-
the sources in too,
Could be
people.
worth having a look at,
Yes.
though. If his numbers and his role could look like fantasy gold, we've got to see we've got to tap into Craig McRae's head, I think.
Yes, we do.
That's going to be what we want to see from that. Tapping into heads, Jordan De Goey.
The GOAT.
We're not exactly sure where he's at right at the moment, but if he is available and if he is playing and
And if he's back in that midfield,
then lock and load. So he's priced at 84. He was priced at 80 last year when we all picked him and thought he was going to be great. Popular starting pick then. His first games, anyone want to put this through their heads?
no, I don't.
61. He had 90, but kicked 4 goals to get that 90. 66, 44. Then got concussed on that 3.
Oh, he did
It was
too.
such a horrific run. So he only averaged 67 up to the bye. But this is why we're hot on him now, if he's available. 110 average after the bye.
Yeah.
To think that he recovered that
Yes.
average
Yep.
to an 84, did you say?
Yes.
Wow.
So
From where it was.
75% centre bounces in the last 5 rounds definitely helped that there. And the midfield role was there. But he's a watch to see what happens with his spot on Collingwood's playing list. They've picked up a new player in Patrick Lipinski. I held some hope that he was going to have forward status.
Yes.
He's mid only, so
Yeah.
that puts a dampener on where he is because he's priced at 72 and he goes better than 72.
I think so, yes.
That's
Does,
the
but
simple thing.
He's out of the game now, isn't he?
Yeah, he
Without
is.
that forward
Yep.
status.
So mid only, I don't think we can. Could be if you've got a deeper midfield in your draft league on your
100%.
bench, and it could be a speculative type one that you go,
Yep.
he could be an 85 to 90, which could then be at least bench, but if not fieldable for some leagues.
And with someone like him late in the draft, I'm punting that because he might get forward status back.
Good one, Roy.
Depending on his
yes,
role. Oh,
agree.
thanks, yeah.
I like it.
They also picked up Nathan Kruger from Geelong. He has defender status, but he'll play forward for Collingwood if he's playing. So played a couple of games last year. Just one, I guess, to monitor because he's 287, and depending on where you're at with what rookies we've got playing around, he's in that rookie price range.
Yeah.
And if he is playing, then
Hang on.
got to look at that.
You laughed at me when Kruger made my top 10 most relevant traded players over
That's
the
where I got
pre-season.
these notes from, Cow. Other
made
players
the notes.
worth having a look at in the back line could be Will Kelly, who has defender forward status.
That's
so
a lock.
They want to play him.
They do.
They wanted to play him last year, but his
Yeah.
body
Yeah.
just didn't hold up.
No.
So I think he will be in my side. Only played the 2 games last year and only the 1 game the year before, but injury was the issue. So,
Defender forward. That's very handy.
yeah, the little swingman that he
Yeah.
could be for us. And if he is honestly playing, like, you just have to lock that in at $191,000. Hope you're not $1,000 short on someone.
I bet someone who's out there.
A couple of others worth looking at that are yet to debut. Reef McInnes, midfielder, 190k. And Isaac Chugg,
Chuggy.
boy.
We love Chuggy.
So he's a 190k defender.
Tearing
They-
up the track.
Yeah.
So
He does, though. He works
He was
hard.
last year as well.
Yeah.
Have not forgotten him, but Nick Daicos, is he a lock for you at 284?
Yeah.
yeah, has
Just
to
have
be.
to do it,
He
don't
just
you?
walks into their team.
All right, here's one.
And
So
he's capable anyway. Like, he's a good player.
who out of him and Horn Francis, which one is it? If you can only have one.
Probably Daicos, actually.
Yeah.
Yep, I think it is. I think he's just in that side.
Yeah.
He pushes.
I don't think Horn Francis has any issues getting a game,
No.
but I think that
I-
Daicos is the swagger is there to
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
game and play every game.
You look at the wording out of both clubs.
Yep.
There's a real sort of protection bubble around Horn Francis where they've been happy to pretty much put Daicos out there.
Daicos been quite happy to put himself out there. Yeah, that's
exactly
the thing.
right.
He will be straight in the midfield.
Yeah. Yep.
Straight in there. Pushing out all those other guys that were rolling through there last year.
And not really taking advantage of that
Yep.
opportunity they were given. I think we just put both of them. They can be both on ground in the midfield.
In that team I released a couple of weeks ago,
they look good for the record.
7 and 8, M7, M8.
It's actually a really good team.
It was.
I screenshotted it.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, I'm going to copy it.
Other things worth looking at there with him, I guess, is just considering his numbers were just massive.
Yeah.
Like he was scoring big scores.
No wonder he's so confident.
Yeah.
The other one is Arlo Draper. He was picked 45 in the draft, 202k. Just a watch on him, 185 centimetre inside midfielder. So numbers could rack up.
He would definitely have a basketball background.
100%.
And he plays like Taylor Adams, so he's worth a.
Plays like Taylor Adams, and he's that big.
Yep.
Oh my God,
Speaking of Taylor Adams,
unstoppable.
we talked about our Corona Ball averages.
Yeah.
That 114 that he had there. So he's actually priced at 101 this year. Worth a watch, I reckon.
Did you see the size of the pipes?
Oh, yeah, he's worth
They're
pretty well.
impressive.
He's ready to go.
So, yeah, I reckon Adams there, and he's probably, definitely a second round pick in draft. He will be
can
there
be
as long
110.
as long as his body can
It's
hold up.
only
Like
durability
it's the
with
14 games last year. Like that's just the thing that we know.
It happens every year.
He's got to cost you a trade at some point, isn't he?
He's a gun, though, isn't he? I love him.
All right, yeah. So Arlo Draper, yep. So just worth considering or watching him over the preseason, and I think that's about where we're at with those guys. Anyone else catch your eye throughout?
No, I like it, Dog.
You've done well, Dog.
Done very well.
Great work.
Plenty of players to look at from Collingwood each year, so we'll be covering them off as much as we can throughout the preseason and keeping our eyes on the track. Make sure you're subscribing to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and also clicking back to afl.com.au and the AFL Live app for all of your fantasy content.